Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm Josh, that is Vince. This is the Redpill Project's Daily Dose, live with you Monday through Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. This is where we bring you the front seat of the unfolding global conspiracy, and a conspiracy it is. And, you know, I don't think it's any more of a theory. It's more of a reality. And me and Vince were just discussing this, and I proposed a question. I said, for 3.5 years, we had Q, which gave us this playbook of the deep state and what they're going to do. And it's almost like they're following it to a T. It's weird. But if you were the bad guy and you knew that the good guys knew your playbook, when you're playing chess here, what would you do? Would you go out there and play the playbook and make it look like you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do, but then change it up at the last minute? And you got to remember, this is an incredibly dynamic situation we're dealing with here. The global cabal, the deep state, the socialists, you have China, you have Russia, you have multinational players. And you got to understand that these 150 people, the Committee of 300, whatever they are, yeah, they control the financial aspect of the world. They control many players and actors and countries in the world. They control all the banking infrastructure. But how difficult would it be for a country like China to just take them out? At least pull them out of the shadows. See, I don't think it would be that difficult. And China knows that, and they know that. And see, if you look at Stalin, if you look at Mao, if you look at Castro, all these people, what did they do with everybody that helped them achieve their goals?
To help who achieve?
So
what did those leaders do to help who?
So think about it. What did those leaders do to the people that helped them obtain their goals? They fucking executed them. They promised them the world and then killed them because they became a threat to their power structure.
Basically betrayed everybody.
That's right. They eliminated them. They betrayed everybody. And it's the same scenario that happens over and over and over again. Now, let me ask you this. China has been utilized as the geopolitical, geomilitaristic, and geoeconomic structure of the deep state for the last 30 years, building up to basically take over the United States, take over the world economically and militaristically.
Yeah, I would say worldwide has been the key player.
It has been the key player for the deep state. Do you think China wants to share that power with a bunch of white men? No. Do you think China really wants to play that game with the global cabal? No. They want it all for themselves. That's the game that they've been playing. And I think that, I don't know why we're on YouTube. They opened the account back up for some reason. I doubt we're going to be on there long. So if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't seen us in a while, please go to that Linktree link and check us out and get subscribed to our other channels. So this is what I think is happening. Fauci was the fall guy. Fauci takes down China. This gets really interesting of what we're seeing right now in the sense of what's happening. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to my web browser. Take me a few seconds to get it up here. Admiral Goyer explains why we can't rule out that bioweapon theory of the virus. This is a bioweapon theory from China. Okay? Now, what happened yesterday? War of words. China threatens USA with intense nuclear showdown as it ramps up atomic program as a vital deterrent against America and warns if you investigate COVID origins, we're going to nuclear war. Right? State Department leaders were warned not to pursue COVID origin investigations. But now we have the Fauci emails, which show that as early as March 2020, Fauci knew that this was lab produced. And he knew before this because, well, he helped fund it, gain of research studies. So you got to ask yourself,
Yeah.
was this all to set up China?
Yeah, not only that, he knew about preventative
Therapies.
He knew about cures and therapies and
Yep.
everything that everyone's been saying. He validated as being on the money in those emails.
What was that one? It started with an R. It's resmeratrol, whatever that one is.
Remdesivir.
Yeah. So they actually talked about that in April of 2020. Hydroxychloroquine. Fauci was even stated saying that hydroxychloroquine is an effective treatment against against COVID-19. That masks don't work. I want you guys to understand that this is off narrative. This is off book. Something is up.
Yeah. And a lot of people are pointing out the source of who released these emails and who got them.
BuzzFeed, right?
Yeah, I believe BuzzFeed submitted the request.
And BuzzFeed is a mainstream media player. They're just as shit as everybody else.
Yeah, kind of, in my opinion, bottom of the barrel.
That's right. So it begs the question. Why is the deep state going back and circling back around, taking out their own people? You remember I said, Vince, a while back, the deep state, the global cabal, is not a pyramid structure, but a multiple-headed hydra.
Yeah.
And you have multiple factions battling over control and power. And China, I think, got too powerful. And I think China is going to be dragged in front of the international community and getting their ass whooped. We're backing China right now into a wall, and they're scared. So much so that we're starting to see interesting things happen.
Someone's saying Judicial Watch did the Freedom of Information Act.
Okay, so yeah, Judicial Watch was the original, but it was reported originally by BuzzFeed. So this is a report that I saw today. Chinese stealth drones surveilling U.S. energy infrastructure. Fauci emails reveal explosive admission of COVID cover-up. We knew about that, but this was Mike Adams today. Chinese stealth drones surveilling U.S. energy infrastructure. Remember, the focus on energy infrastructure is critically important here. We're being set up, guys. We're being set up. Or are we?
The thing is, so if we know their playbook, then they therefore set traps and make moves. What if they knew some of our playbook? Could they? That just complicates it even more. So when all this stuff's happening, it's really hard to know.
Well, I look at it as this, is we knew they're going to go after our energy infrastructure grid.
Right.
But didn't Trump set certain things in place so that couldn't happen? He did.
And what did Biden do?
Well, he removed them immediately. But what if that was the invitation to China?
A trap or a doorway?
You know, I think there's some traps set. And I think everything is falling into one big trap. Because look, it's blatantly obvious that they are going to attack our energy grid. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates just did what?
They're investing in nuclear.
Yep. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett team up to build an advanced nuclear plant in Wyoming.
Yeah.
These guys don't invest their money into energy, nuclear power plants, unless they know that it's going to be mass adopted. Now, why do they think coal's going to go away? Go back to that last article title I just talked about. Chinese drones scoping out U.S. energy infrastructure. We've had an uptick right here. Breaking. And after uptick in ransomware attacks, Biden administration contemplating offensive cyber attacks against hackers inside Russia. Now, we know these hackers aren't coming from Russia. They're not coming from Russia. If they are, they're still Chinese hackers. We know this. They're Chinese hackers. But what we're talking about here is a false flag that's going to go after our energy. This is what I think the deep state wants, or this is what the evil deep state China wants. A false flag blamed on Russia going after United States energy infrastructure that takes it down, shows how vulnerable it is. Immediately, things are changed. We move away from coal, we move away from gas, and we move to clean energy and nuclear. Gates and Buffett are already in place. Boom, it's already up and running. Next 3 years, tops. Everything's blamed on Russia. Then we go to war with Russia. Now, Russia just dropped the dollar and picked up the won. Now, that's an interesting move. That doesn't make any sense unless Russia knows that the US dollar is about to get hammered. Now, I've been calling from the firestorm, for the firestorm. Economic, social, infrastructure, and governmental collapse of society. It's coming. The question is what are the patriots doing to counteract that? I think there's factions in the global cabal right now that are going to take out their henchmen. I think that China is going down. I think that Fauci, potentially Gates, are going down. I think that, like I said the other day, is the patriots potentially infiltrated the global cabal. And that we got people who are on our side. Because the narrative is not, there's just too much stuff in the public eye. All the stuff that's happening is exactly what we thought would happen. But that in itself is confusing. Because if you knew your enemy knows what you were going to do, would you still do it? If you're playing chess and your enemy knew your every move, if you're playing football, a football game, perfect example. Up into the fourth quarter, we played the playbook exactly the way it needed to be played. Now what do? We change it up last minute. And we do shit that you never expected. So everything that we've thought about, everything that we've covered in the sense of scenarios is most likely not going to happen. Think about it.
Yeah, but then there's also the reverse psychology aspect where it's like they think we're going to switch it up, so let's not deviate. I don't know. Just saying. That comes into play.
That could be very well as well. Is that, what if they think that we're going to do this, but they think that we're going to do this, so we do this instead? I don't know. But in the perspective of chess, per se, right? How do you bring about massive global change to where the people beg for
it? By having hungry people or people that need help.
So we create the firestorm scenario, right?
Yeah.
But how many of those people are going to be so pissed off that they revolt against their government and overthrow it? The majority. So how do you ease that? It's a good question, right?
Yeah.
You make them think they're winning.
Slowly get to that point.
You make them think they're winning. Take out China, put them in front of an international tribunal. Have the CCP tried for crimes against humanity in front of an international tribunal. Have Xi removed from power. Have China liberated. What if? That would make us all think that we're winning.
Not with the current administration in this country in power.
Interesting. But what if It was that current administration that brought all that about.
Um,
I'm asking skeptical questions here.
Maybe it wouldn't even happen. Maybe they don't even. Do you think he could make that happen?
Biden?
Yeah.
I don't think Biden has the mental power to even understand what that is.
Yeah,
but
if
I think
something
that
like that happened.
I think there's players. Think about this. Why did Biden open up an investigation into the COVID origins?
To set up Fauci?
Well,
or to put a spotlight on the issue?
Last
No,
week,
he was forced to, wasn't he?
He was forced to. State Department officials just said they were told not to investigate it. Most likely by Beacon or Belkin or whatever that guy's name is, right? Then Biden is forced to investigate the COVID origins. Not even a week later, the Fauci emails are released. Who the hell forces Biden to do that? And why?
Good question. Good point. That's really coincidental, and I don't believe in those
Right
anymore.
before Fauci's emails are released. Now, it could have been preparatory. Hey, Fauci's emails are going to be released by FOIA next week. They're pretty damaging. Open up an investigation now. Make it look like we're doing something.
I bet that could definitely be a good possibility.
But then, and by the way, Fauci last week was like, well, I can't rule out that it wasn't made in the lab. He's saying this pre his emails being released. Because they knew they were going to be released. So is this damage control?
Yeah, a little bit of emergency damage control and narrative setting before it happened.
So, remember Patrick Byrne said something was supposed to happen on the 28th? Around that same time is when Fauci and everybody started coming out and saying that it was made in a lab, and they opened the investigation saying it was in a lab, right? Because they knew the emails were about to be released. So was this a move by the Patriots to get these emails released? You're muted.
Sorry. So wasn't the first thing supposed to be a book?
Well, he had his book deal, right?
Okay. Yeah, but that corresponds to Biden announcing that they're going to be investigating the origins. And then today, he announced a lawsuit.
Who did?
Patrick Byrne.
Oh, Patrick Byrne did.
I believe. Let me see if I can pull up the source of that. Yeah. And then he polled everybody on Telegram too, asking, were my 2 drops legit, basically?
So he introduced this lawsuit. I could care less about these guys and their lawsuits these days and their movies. You know, I saw the Mike Lindell stuff today, how he came out with the hacker dude, and they're showing conclusively that the election's stolen. Do we know the fucking election was stolen? The evidence has been out since November 4th that the election was stolen.
Right. Well, the point I was making is the second drop corresponds kind of to the emails. The first one corresponds to the investigation.
Interesting. Now,
kind of, not exactly. I might be way off there.
Well, I didn't see them. I don't get on. I don't get on Telegram. But you know, Heather said it best here. Patriots forced their hand. I think that's spot on. Patriots forced their hand. Now, what that does is it's going to remove China from the equation. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that whoever in the Patriots forced Biden's hand is a member of the global elite. Is one of these 150 people. We have to understand this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What? Did you just?
I just saw something. Oh my God. Hold on a second.
I think that might have been one of those infamous moments. All right, I found the link. I'll post it in the app for anybody that wants to check it out. It's a lawsuit against Dominion and Smartmatic, and it has some data.
Okay,
that he
so
also
it was a
released.
lawsuit against Dominion and Smartmatic.
Mm.
You know, I want to go back here. I want to go to...
I understand what you're saying about all these lawsuits and everything. Didn't somebody say that even the audit doesn't even matter? Didn't Flynn or somebody say something along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, it's all going to be bullshit.
Yeah, could be.
You know, you got to ask yourself about Q. Did he give us? Someone just said what if Q was pre-war and B is in war? Right?
Oh,
Wonderland's upside down, isn't it?
yeah.
Wonderland is upside down. I know you're going to take a few seconds before you can see my screen.
Oh, B.
Turn a lowercase q upside down.
Yeah,
Lowercase q upside down is what?
it's a B.
It's a B. As well as, hold on, there could be other meaning here, is what does an upside down American flag mean?
That means war, right? Or
Under
distress. Duress. Okay.
Well, Jim Eagle says I'm not sold on the B post. Very skeptical for that now. Well, we're going to have Code Monkey on. We're going to talk about it. We'll try to get Code Monkey on probably Monday.
Sweet. Good deal.
But I think there's symbolic representation and meaning here. But I think that most likely, guys, whoever or whatever Q is or was is fucking untouchable. That most likely who we had been communicating with for 3 years was a group, a faction of the global elite who didn't want these fuckers to be successful.
Yeah. I wonder what their end game result is.
Well, for them, I think for them, it's off planet.
I was wondering, I'm glad you brought that up. I wonder if the nuclear stuff has anything to do with the UFO stuff.
What nuclear stuff?
Bill Gates.
Interesting. I don't know. I mean, how would it? Let's think about it.
I know there have been reports of UFOs around nuclear sites.
Mm-hmm.
And have you heard of the report where, I haven't validated this or anything, but where multiple nuclear missiles were shut off?
Yes.
By a UFO?
Yep.
So there seems to be a connection between nuclear and UFOs already. And then at the same time we're having this disclosure, they're also announcing that they're creating a nuclear power plant.
Mm-hmm. Now, just to touch on this a little bit, I had this article actually sent to me. I don't have it in front of me, but do you remember last night I showed the video of the UFO and the directed energy weapon, which I do believe is confirmed. That is a directed energy weapon trying to shoot out a UFO that's hiding in a volcano. Did you know in March, Mount Etna, which is in Italy, erupted? And right before the eruption, a UFO seen flying into it?
No way. What?
Yep. Let me see if I can find the video. I had it sent to me, but for some reason, I don't know why that's not coming up. Hold on.
I hope there's something to that disclosure because all this stuff is so interesting.
Well, there's
The
gotta be.
the possibilities are
I
driving me
think
nuts.
Trump put something in there, basically making it that it has to be. That there's no way around it.
Yeah, they didn't they didn't reverse everything, did they? But I think they illegally did something because they wouldn't allow Trump to go back on any executive orders, but they did. So it's like either that was illegal or them stopping Trump was illegal. Either way, something bad happened.
Yeah, so this was April 3rd, 2021. Unidentified flying object dives into Etna volcano prior to the 17th paroxysmal eruption. Right there. And there's a video for it right there. And they call it a meteorite above Etna volcano. Absolutely love it.
And
now,
the chances
what
are
the
just
chances?
astronomical.
Meteorites above volcanoes. I mean, just like they're attracted to them.
2 within 3 months, even.
2 within 3 months. Like, that's like taking a dime, okay, and hitting a flea 100 yards away by just throwing it with your eyes closed. Like, highly improbable here.
But when it hits the flea, it passes right through it because the molecules just line up just right.
Right. Exactly. So, listen, I think that I said June is when we should start seeing the Patriots fighting back. I think that I'm starting to think that the global cabal is not as evil as we thought they were, that there are good people in high places, and that they are fighting back, and we're starting to see the turning of the tide.
So, like, they're infiltrated, basically.
The deep state is infiltrated. So think about this. Remember I told you, think mirror when you think about the Q posts.
Yeah.
Q was telling us, oh, your whole government's infiltrated, state, local, everything is infiltrated. But that also means that the deep state's infiltrated by us, by the good guys.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
You're never going to believe who you're talking to. You're talking to one of the world elite, one of the global cabal. What if you were? What if there is a faction of them that want to see the best for this world, that want to get off planet, that want to do deals with alien species, that want to go to other planets?
Yeah, or just have a selfish deal that they made.
Exactly. So what if what's happening now is China was trying to betray the deep state knew this, and said, well, guess what? You're done.
Huh.
I'm speculating here. I'm going out on a limb. I'm kind of just thinking openly right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought.
But we have to take that into context because the playbook is being set. The narrative is being set. We see the narrative being set, and everybody's screaming bloody murder. Now, if they move forward with this narrative, they're fucked. Like, look, it's okay. I understand that they have a certain control over government and media and so forth. But you don't want to piss off 90 million Americans who are armed to the teeth, who see every little move you're making. Eventually, they're going to come and they're going to find you. Seriously, they're going to come and find you. And that's not a can of worms that they want to open up. And if you're the American politicians, if you're the American corrupted elite, you know this. And you know that China is setting you up for failure. So what do? Do you take out China or do you let them take you out? Muted. You're muted.
Oh, you could disregard that.
Well, it's a logical question.
Yeah.
There's no room for any of these political leaders in the United States that are all corrupted in China's global economy, in China's global world.
Or here for them to continue on the path that they are. They're not going to hang around to see what happens. If
they want the United States for their farmland. Period. That's what they want. To feed their 1 billion, which will soon be 2 billion people in the population. You want to talk about eugenicists? You want to talk about racists? You want to talk about superiority complex? China. They believe they are the supreme race. And they are going to wipe everybody out.
Yeah.
And I think shit is about to hit the fan against China, and that they're going to propagate a war, and they're going to be shut down faster than you could ever imagine.
By the world, probably.
By technology they have not seen yet.
I mean, just as easy as they could or have infiltrated our infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
What about their infrastructure?
Well, do you remember a few months ago, not even a few, about a month and a half ago, when those bombings happened in Syria and Iran?
Yeah.
And Biden's like, oh, I'll tell you, Nancy. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Kamala.
Yep.
Because he didn't know.
Right.
Because he didn't know. Lloyd Austin, Secretary of Defense, didn't know it happened. Because someone else is pulling the strings. Now, we can think it's Trump. I don't think it's Trump. But I think there's a faction of the military who answers to somebody else. And what if... Now, Vince, I want to ask you this. Who benefits the most financially, economically, globally, for the release of all this alien intelligence with the information pertaining to recovered reverse engineered alien aircraft? Who benefits the most from that? Beware.
Maybe everybody?
Beware the military industrial complex.
The military.
Industrial complex. The military industrial complex.
They would benefit the most.
That's right.
Because
who
of
are
Space
the top...
Force and an excuse for money to be pumped in.
That's right. So who are the top two producers in the world? Top two countries producing military technology?
U.S. and China.
U.S. and Israel.
Oh, Israel second? Cool.
Okay. So, think about this. Trump initiated this release. Who's going to build the starships? Who's going to build the space-based weapons? Who's going to perpetuate the alien threat to build up a militaristic threat in space?
Israel and the U.S.
The military-industrial complex wins that game. But see, that doesn't happen if you're at war with China. That doesn't happen if you're at war with Russia. That doesn't happen in China's world. Now, we go back to the 1940s. We talk about the military-industrial complex. We talk about Majestic 12, how this was created. And we want to think about this in nefarious terms, how Eisenhower came out and warns against the military-industrial complex. But in actuality, Eisenhower wasn't warning you and me about the military-industrial complex. Eisenhower was warning the intelligence agencies about the military-industrial complex who shunned him out of this technology, who was not letting him into this technology because he was a two-term president and he had no need to know. That they kept this secret from this rogue elite. We know that Podesta, Clinton, both Clintons, Bushes have wanted to get their hands on this technology for the longest time. They have not been able to. But now it's going to come out. It's going to come out. And so who controls it?
Who controls what?
The technology, the reverse engineered technology.
It would. I hope. Who controls the reverse engineered technology? I would guess the U.S.
whoever's in the position of power, right? Now, do we want China to have that technology against a foreign alien species? No. Damn right we don't. Russia already has the same technology, hence why Putin is still in power and Russia is still standing. They would have been wiped out a long time ago if they didn't.
Do you think this is the same reason World War II was fought? Or partly?
What do you mean? The, curve?
Technology. Same technology.
It very well could have been. The Nazis were going around the world finding all this ancient technology, uncovered it in reverse engineering, and basically it became a technological race to who could develop the best technology the fastest. And so it behooved the United States to enter the war to take out Germany so that they could curve their technological advancement. When the United States did, the United States and Russia went on a technological building, massive buildup of weapons, which was really not the weapons that we saw on the surface, but it was clandestine operations of the weapons. But what I'm trying to say is, what if Trump partnered up with the military-industrial complex to take out the deep state? Because one faction of the deep state is the military-industrial complex. That's
I like it.
What I'm saying.
I like it. So basically, everything would be under control of under
the secret military.
Well, right, but he's trying to get everything under the president again, or
well, essentially, I think it doesn't matter if Trump's in power or not. That this faction of the global elite, the military aspect of it, the military-industrial complex, they know that their trade secrets, all the work that they've done for 60, 80 years, has been magically given to China. Where China's just going to replicate it and make money off of it. They're like, fuck that. This is bullshit. And I'm pretty sure at that table, when they all sat down, they said, no, this is bullshit. And China's like, yeah, well, it's our turn. And they're like, not if we have anything to do with it. You gotta remember, they've kept this technology from them for 80 years. And Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama came in, infiltrated them, and started leaking this technology slowly to China. The military-industrial complex doesn't like that. That's against their doctrine. So the faction that we're talking about of the global elite is the military-industrial complex. Now, let me ask you this. Who would have the power and authority to bomb sites in Syria without the Secretary of Defense knowing about it, without the President of the United States, or Congress knowing about it?
Who would have the authority to do that?
Who would have the ability to do that?
I don't know.
The military-industrial complex.
Okay, or just
some factions of generals that are a part of the secret little cabal club.
Which they could just probably remain anonymous or blame it on somebody else.
Yeah. But since it's an international incident, Biden has to say, yeah, I knew about it. But he didn't. And we know he didn't. Congress didn't know about it. The Secretary of Defense didn't know about it. Most likely came from the Joint Chiefs. Why? The Joint Chiefs haven't swapped out since Trump.
Right.
We go back to that little letter, or that one article that was written, right? That they interviewed Kash Patel, Chris Miller, and Ezra, right? And Ezra said that the Joint Chiefs have compartmentalized authority, chain of command, and information away from the civilian aspects of the Department of Defense. So much so that they're still there. And they haven't been replaced. And that's the one thing that nobody is talking about. And now we're starting to see militaristic movements. We're starting to see information disclosures that go against the narrative, bringing China out into the international spotlight that's going to potentially bring China down, bring Fauci down, bring other players and actors. And then we get this. We see today, where is it? Right there. Source. Dem lobbying firm under federal investigation for Burisma work. Blue Star Strategies illegally lobbied on behalf of the Ukrainian company that counted Hunter Biden as a board member. Now, why is that important? I know this is you got to go far back for this one.
I'm not sure.
Karen Tramontano. Who's Karen Tramontano? She's the CEO of Blue Star Strategies, okay? From 1997 to 2001, she served as the White House as Deputy Chief of Staff to President Bill Clinton and counselor to Eskin Bowles and John Podesta. Who paid for the dossier against Trump?
I don't know.
Clinton campaign, the Democrats.
Yes,
right?
Democrats.
A lot of this information, who paid for the hacking in Burisma? Remember, that's where the server was.
Who paid for the hacking?
This all leads back to the 2016 election. This all leads back to the 2016 election and them trying to steal the election. Okay?
Okay.
So the DOJ is now investigating Blue Star Strategies, Hunter Biden. That's not good for Hunter Biden. That's not good for Joe Biden. That's not good for Hillary Clinton, because Blue Star Strategies leads directly to the Clintons. Now, what did I just say? If you're the cabal and you've just been basically shunned out of your own little global party, and China is seeking to take control of everything, who are you going to take out?
China.
Everybody responsible for your demise, right? The Clintons, Obama, China, Fauci, Gates.
Yeah, I guess or vice versa if they had the power. But yeah, I see where you're going with that.
So what we're seeing right now, guys, is kind of what we just laid out this last 45 minutes. The global cabal is not a pyramid. The I pyramid, the one part, that infiltrated the Masons a long time ago, this is just one small faction that has gained power and control through coercion, through force, and through blackmail over the years. The actual cabal, the people that lead this planet, the 150 white men, if you want to call it that, to own all industry and business, they're being pushed out of something that they built. You remember what Q said? The taking out of the replacement of the old guard with the new guard. Who's the fucking new guard? And so you got to ask yourself, is there a faction of the deep state, of the global cabal, that is at war with another faction? And I think everything that we're starting to see manifest, the deviation from the playbook, the China being thrown out into the international community, threaten nuclear war if we come after them. Militaristic strikes. We had the Iranian boat sunk. We had the Iranian oil refinery. Just last month, we had the Syrian plant, Iranian earthquakes. These are militaristic strikes that no one knows who the fuck is doing, and they're being covered up in the media. This is a faction of the cabal that must have our best interest in mind, or is trying to fight for survival, fighting back. And we're starting to see the deviation from the global narrative. They know what they're planning. And the other side knows what they're planning. And we're all seeing it manifest. Remember, the invisible war is going to leak out onto the surface. And we're starting to see it now.
Yeah, we are. It's really starting to heat up.
And so go ahead, sorry.
I just hope it doesn't get too crazy is all.
Well, I think with the release of information pertaining to UFOs and aliens, I'm going to guess here. Because you have to look in the sense of beneficial. So you have to look in the sense of power and money, right? This information's coming out because of power and money, right? So with this information coming out, if they just come out and they say, oh, well, we really don't know what it is, and that's it. Do you think that's going to fly?
They can't.
They can't.
We know there's been a long investigation.
That's right. We've already had government whistleblowers come out. So they have to come out and say something. Probably to the lines of, we have recovered aircraft, or we have recovered their craft. We have tried to reverse engineer their technology. We are working to reverse engineer their technology. Something of this nature. They're going to come out and say that, yes, these things are what we believe them to be, is either A, B, C, or D, extra-dimensional, extraterrestrial, or even cryptozoological, in the sense of they cohabit our planet. right? There is going to be massive bombs dropped with this report. And what it's going to do is it's going to set a new global narrative. Because here's the thing. It's going to be a race to space after this. You remember I said months ago, probably a year ago, I said I bet you within the next 5 to 10 years we will be in space. I'm not joking about that. That's what's going to come out of this. You have to take everybody's mind off of everything else and focus on something. And it's going to be corporations going to space, governments going to space to try to secure that sector because now the technology is there. If humanity just understands that it's possible, that the technology exists and we have it, now it can come out of the clandestine projects, out of the SAPs, special access programs, and into the universities and publicly studied. Which we already know that they have it. TR3Bs, etc. It's going to come out and it's going to change the face of this planet. Even the paradigm is going to shift. And see, that's what I think this aspect of the global cabal wants because they've been preparing for this. Because they get to monetize it. They get to develop it. They get to build it. They are first to the egg. So the military-industrial complex is first to space and everybody else has to trek behind them. They now control the aspect of space. And China's left in the dust. Russia is probably already there. But it's the United States that leads the way. And maybe this is why we have to show the incompetencies and insecurities of our energy grid structure because guess what? They're obsolete as of next month. Maybe that's what the infrastructure bill is all about a new greener infrastructure bill because the technology is obsolete next month.
And it'll be green.
Well, yeah, I mean, free energy or nuclear or whatever. I mean, whether it's a plasma-based energy or whatever it is. What if they already have it? What if it's implemented within 3 years? That means that you would have to have the infrastructure laid out before it happens.
Yeah. Well, I bet it's really easy to implement.
I bet you it is too. And so I'm wondering is if this has been one big setup against China. Because I kind of there's a part that we have to understand here. Is the global elite, like the cabal, they own everything. If they wanted to remove you, they just remove you. They don't need blackmail to remove you. If they wanted, a leader of a country to be taken out of power, that plane magically crashes and their candidate wins. There's no blackmail needed, okay? That's how powerful those people are. But see, China and the satanic branch, they decided to infiltrate, right? And they decided to go out there, coerce, and blackmail people. And this is how they gained their power and infiltrated. And they did it because they wanted power. They were being used, they realized it, and started using everybody else. And now those same people that were using them are going to come back and smack them down.
Yep. They're trying to enslave everybody, legit.
Yep, they were. They are supremacists, and they want their race to be the only race on this planet. And that's why everybody else is fighting amongst themselves. Interesting theory.
I like it. Makes me feel a little bit better.
It does. It makes me feel a little bit better as well because I've been calling it for the longest time that we're dealing with multiple factions of the global cabal here that don't necessarily agree with each other. They don't agree with each other. And you got to understand that, yeah, these people are the same ones that funded Mao. These are the ones that funded Stalin. They funded Nazis, right? But throughout that time, you're telling me that the good people never infiltrated their ranks, never made it to that table? That doesn't make any sense. And if we look at the war, the invisible war that has been played out for the last 80 years, we see that the one thing that they never had was the advanced technology that was reverse engineered.
And how, to your point on there being an infiltration, how do you get their playbook?
You got to be at the table. That's why I'm saying is I think Q is at the table.
Wow.
I think Q was at the table. And so, you know, this the star user from Periscope says, when does the hero make a comeback? Hero's journey. Gotta hit rock bottom. Dun 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 dun. Right? It's time. And I think we're about to see the meteoric rise of humanity to the stars, as well as out of this tyrannical and oppressive world. Because you know what I just described to everybody is that the Biden administration has absolutely no fucking power whatsoever.
Except for what's voluntarily given to them.
Yep.
Out of ignorance. I think you're right. They can't actually do anything. Everything that they're doing and what they say, it's all voluntary. I listened to a White House COVID briefing today, and basically they're putting out guidelines for other countries, but explicitly saying, we're not bribing, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. We're just, recommending that Korea do this. We're just recommending, and it's up to them to do it. It's like, so you're telling me nobody has to listen to you? Okay, good.
So do you remember all those NASA live streams of the ISS and how you'd see UFOs and shit?
Yeah.
So perfectly spherical UFOs with mechanical lighting spotted hurling past the ISS is now coming out in this this DoD talk. So, yep.
Huh.
All this DoD talk is now coming out with all this talk about UFOs and UFO disclosure. Now it's coming out that, yep, all those things were UFOs flying past ISS.
What's up with the the astronauts floating around with harnesses on? You see that?
I never saw the harnesses. I saw the one where they're talking about the little air ball, the globe ball, right?
I didn't get it.
Yeah, there's one where the dude has a ball and it drops and everybody's like this.
Yeah.
But it drops and it falls to the ground. Everybody's like, "Oh, I told you so! It's gravity!" And I'm like,
I saw a funny one where a guy's literally floating in the background of two people on the space station, and he has a harness.
Yeah.
Poking out of his back, or like his.
And the lady tucks it back in for him or something. Yeah.
It's so.
You know what ridiculous. It might be, dude?
What?
It's like I've said. I think that flat earthers have a reason to be skeptical of what's happening in space and the moon landing. Gotta remember, we're now finding out, right? Have you heard this, that the moon is actually blue-hued and rusting?
Rust, yeah.
So go back to all the Apollo missions and tell me one instance that any astronaut said that the moon had a blue hue and was rusting.
Never. And
never.
Also, it's really strange because based on what we're told about the moon, that should be impossible.
Well, they're saying that basically hematite is being cast up from the Earth and shot out through particle decay over 1 billion. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
We know there's there's water on the moon. We've already declared that, so that it can happen. But you'd have to have a high concentration of iron, and then you'd have to have the ability for that iron to oxidize.
Right.
And that means there'd have to be a high concentration of oxygen. And they're saying, well, it's coming off the Earth, and every so often their theories are bullshit.
Sense?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
But so here's the thing, though, is I've looked into a lot of the flat Earth stuff, and I don't try to find too many arguments against them because it's just illogical. Like the one today is gravity doesn't exist. Have you heard this shit? Gravity doesn't exist?
Yeah, I heard it.
So they're saying, well, gravity doesn't exist. What you're actually dealing with is density and buoyancy, man. What's gravity?
What is gravity?
What's gravity? Let's look at definitions here.
Gosh.
Gravity's a force, right?
Yeah.
So, is a natural phenomena by which all things with mass or energy, including planets, stars, galaxies, and even light, are brought toward or gravitate towards one another. Okay? And if we get into the quantum theory, basically what happens is a mass has the propensity to distort the medium of which it is in, of which that distortion causes other objects of a similar mass or lesser mass to gravitate towards it. Okay?
Yeah.
How do you find density?
You could submerge an object.
That's right.
Or no. Is that right?
Well, so think about this.
Density is, you have to do with like a hardness test.
Deals with volume. So it's
Okay.
consistency, degree of consistency measured by the quantity of mass per volume.
Quantity of mass. I guess you'd need, you need the weight and the size.
That's right. But so they're saying
something
that,
like that.
the gravity doesn't exist, but what it actually is buoyancy and density. Is why a balloon floats, a helium balloon floats up above air because it's buoyant. It weighs less than the air, so it's less dense, so it flies up, and that's buoyancy, right? And that's why gravity doesn't have any effect on it. Well, let me ask you this. Buoyancy, right? So, if I put what is more dense, water or wood?
Wood?
Why doesn't the wood sink?
I think it's more dense.
Well, it is. But why
Because
doesn't the
water-
wood sink?
Density has to do with the molecules, right?
Yes. But
The
so
actual molecular structure.
Correct.
I think wood is more dense.
it is absolutely
Knock on
100% more dense.
Yeah.
So why doesn't the wood sink in the ocean?
Because it's
Because it has buoyancy.
yeah.
Okay. That's not the same thing as a helium balloon in air. See, their theory right there is gone because they say that buoyancy is basically gravity. But I can take a more dense object and put it on top of a less dense object and it floats. Because that's sustained by buoyancy. The electromagnetic forces have come to a point of stability that neutralize the force of gravity to bring it down. Now, here's the thing. Is that buoyancy only works. You ready for this one, Vince? If you just had buoyancy and no gravity, so if you went up into space where there's no gravity, and you took like a bowling ball and you put it in the middle of a jello mold, right? All you would have is displacement. The bowling ball would simply displace the medium. Okay? The bowling ball does not fall to the bottom of the jello mold, does not fall to the top of the jello mold, or anything of that nature. The actual force that produces buoyancy, the primary force that interacts in buoyancy is
gravity.
So these people saying that, buoyancy is gravity, is proving that gravity actually exists. Because there's no explanation within their buoyant force for the downward motion. Well, anyways, these people are fucked up.
Elements.
I stopped doing TikTok videos on buoyancy just because of it, or TikTok videos on flat Earth.
I always say I'm not interested when they come up, but they always come up.
So, Mine and Menace said water has oxygen in it. So does wood. Wood's a hydrocarbon.
Yeah.
We could have this argument all day long. But let's think about this here. Let's review what we said, because there wasn't a lot of news today, except for Fauci's emails, which I'm not going to go through all Fauci's emails. It was pretty pertinent what Fauci knew, and that this man is complicit with China. Okay? He colluded with China to cover up a fucking bioweapon being deployed globally. You're talking Nuremberg type shit right here. Oh, by the way, do you know who Joe Biden appointed to investigate Fauci's emails?
Oh gosh, no.
Kamala.
Oh my.
The same one that's
gosh.
investigating the border problem, which is just escalating out of control. Of course, right?
They're such a joke.
Well, you know, think about the inaction of Kamala, right? Why does Kamala have so much inaction?
Where is Kamala?
Exactly.
She with Hunter?
You want to know why? You want to know why Kamala has so much inaction?
Because she's a terrible person and no one likes her.
Because she knows what's coming. And there's nothing she can fucking do.
She's just screwed.
Probably. So, guys, I think that Fauci knew masks were fake. He knew that this weapon was a bioweapon produced by China. He knew it was deployed globally by China. He helped to cover this up. He colluded with the Chinese government. So much so that the Chinese government preemptively came out before the emails were released. That means that someone from the United States communicated with China and told them that the emails were going to be released. You have to also see that. That they will go to nuclear war if we continue to investigate it. International community is about to step up and get involved in this. Now, not only that, is this vaccine is being heavily mandated across the globe. Why? That's the big fucking question. This doesn't make any sense. And maybe that's some things that we'll talk about this weekend and so forth. Tomorrow we should have Tomoculus talk. We confirmed it today. He said, dude, I'm going to be there this time. I said, okay. Looking forward to it. And we'll talk about all this stuff tomorrow. I think Vince might even join us tomorrow night. He's more than welcome to anytime.
Awesome.
Guys, we are all linked up. If you guys are joining us on YouTube and you haven't seen us in a while, please go to Linktree. It is linked up in the YouTube description below. It has all of our show times, and if you scroll down to the middle right here, it's all of our social media. It has all of our podcast backups. It has all of our live stream channels. Okay? Then if you go up here, there's ways to support us, ways to donate to the Red Pill Project, how to become an advertiser or sponsor our podcast, as well as some sponsors that we have where you can get 10% off Blue Blocker glasses, Red Pill merch. We have new shirts in there if you want to check them out. Crypto Mastermind class, Noble Gold. Make sure to tell them Red Pill Project sent you. Voyager app and Coinbase right there. And then HempWorks, we partnered up with them. I absolutely love their products. I take them every day. CBD products, check them out. They also have essential oils. If you guys want to go ahead and get some CBD products, please shop here. It does help support us. If you guys are interested in earning some extra money with CBD and joining the Red Pill team, that link is right there, right below it. It's on the link tree. You can find it right there. Please head on over there. Check that out. Other than that, much love, respect. Vince, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Anytime.
You guys all take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Conversation on the Fringe, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Friday. Take care.